Hey, gang, here we go with yet another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Eggert. Our guest today believes life is short, and if you don't love what you do something else. Let's dig into that life philosophy and the journey of my friend, Stacey Stratton. Stacey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Yeah, I am going to dig into all that stuff with you. But first, I'm thrilled to have you on the podcast because one, we've kind of been, I will say, like almost like friends from afar through a mutual friend. And so one of my friends, Renee Fry from high school, is a very good friend of yours.
Yes,
And
I'm going to wine country with her on Thursday
well, there you go. Right. So,
with another one of your members, Nicole Mindor.
oh yeah, sweet. So you are going on a fun trip. Yeah, that is what a great crew you have going to wine country. Oh boy, watch out, wine
The world
country.
is small, isn't it?
No, it's getting smaller with technology and the events that are being put on. And I was thrilled that you became a member. That meant so much to me, but and just our community as well. But just to have your expertise and your knowledge and having that as part of a group. I've heard. I just had lunch with one of the members of your group last week, and he was raving about you being part of the group only in a couple months. So the impact you're making is positive.
Oh, thank you. That's my
Yeah.
goal.
Yep. That's well, let's do that. Let's talk about this then. So you are you were born a Scotty, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, now I'm a Minnesotan.
Right. Yeah. Is it what? I've never
Half Wisconsin.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard the Minnesotan thing. All right. So you grew up in Wisconsin. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up and a little bit about, your home life growing up and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not even a town, it's a village
Hmm.
of Clear Lake, Wisconsin. And it was about population 700 when I was there. I actually just looked it up the other day and it's up to 1100 now. So it's
Hmm.
booming.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it nearby? What is the largest town that
So
you're close to?
yeah, Amory or Turtle Lake. A lot of people know the St. Croix Casino. So it's very
Right.
close to there. It's about 7 minutes away. So just across the border.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So what was your family dynamic growing up? The all the people involved.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. Um, my dad owned a trucking company growing up, and my grandma and grandpa built a cabin in on the Apple River in Amory, Wisconsin, and there was a lake home in Clear Lake right next to them. So we ended up moving there.
Hmm.
And because my dad could work from anywhere, he was trucking, so just going all over. So grew up on the actual Clear Lake, and yes, it is clear. It is about 31 feet deep, but it's a very small lake. There's only 3 houses still to this day on that lake.
Cool.
Yeah, great place to grow up. 2 sisters. I have one older sister who's 3 years older and one younger sister who's 9 years younger.
Hmm.
Um, growing up was kind of crazy. When my sister was 2, my dad left and literally nobody could find him for years.
Hmm.
So yeah, it wasn't the day of the cell phones or anything like that. So he left, my mom with 3 girls. My mom hadn't worked in 17 years. So kind of crazy from like having everything, living on the lake, anything from, snowmobiles to boats to, all that, having everything to then all of a sudden like, whoa.
Hmm.
Um, so my mom, started working nights as a sous chef, and then she has daycare and, executive assistant and a bank teller. And through all that, she was like, do not let this happen to you. You've got to make it on your own. So
Yeah.
that was something that for me always, if I went, and I'm totally dating myself here, but if I wanted Gerbo jeans, I had to pay for them.
Yeah, well, we're about the same age, I think, roughly, and I do know what Jabot jeans are, and they're not a thing anymore. But I hear you. Like, so did your dad left? Did he literally just get in his big rig and just hit the road, and then just decided to just keep driving forever?
Yeah, we found out that he was from California, so he went back to where he grew up. Um, and years later he did come back. He my parents went through a divorce. He married somebody else, had a ton of challenges and died at 45.
Oh,
So
yeah,
super young. We never really repaired our relationship. I always hoped that we would, but
yeah,
never really did. But yeah,
yeah.
kind of tough. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's this great story though of let's remove your dad from this narrative here and just look at the story of your mom and the resilience that she had to keep her shit together and the family
Mhm.
together with you three girls. And I don't care who you are, that has an impact on how you're gonna grow up and how you're gonna perceive things. And even if your mom said don't let this happen to you, she didn't even need to say that. Like, you saw it, right? And
Yeah.
you were living it. One of the things I always like to talk about is on this podcast is nature versus nurture. And boy, that's probably a little bit of a more on the nurture side, right? Because you experience so much at a young
Yeah.
age that it just influenced so much drive into you.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me because I mean, we've all been through tough times, nobody is guaranteed an easy life, and honestly, it is because I went through those tough times that made me who I was, so,
Yeah.
through that, seeing that, like there was a lot of love, but not going back to, not a lot of disposable income. So I was always working three jobs, at
Mm.
once, like to make sure that I could, if I wanted those jeans, I could buy them or like buying hairspray or anything like that. If I wanted it, my mom taught me that I had to work for it. And that was just an awesome, awesome lesson for me in life. And it's just helped me through so many things.
Were you a good kid, or were you a little shit, or what were you? What were you like when you were younger?
I think I was a pretty good kid. I think my mom thought I was an angel. I got away with a lot of shit, I think. Blamed
Yeah.
it on my older sister.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about right there. That middle letting things just kind of slip through the cracks. What was your
Me, I
yeah,
would never do that. No
right,
way. That was
right. Yeah,
Dawn.
yeah, right. No, I love it. Do you what was your jam what were you into when you were younger? Through, middle school slash high school, what were some of your activities and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, I was not an athlete at all. Definitely not. I was on the dance. It was anything that, going back to my mom with the whole thing, she's like, we don't have insurance, so you can't, be in
Hmm.
anything dangerous. There was no skiing or anything like that for me. We lived across from a beach, so a lot of swimming. I ended up lifeguarding as one of my jobs. Because it was like, how can I get paid the most money, be close to home, things like that. So
Yeah,
I loved the lake. I loved, lifeguarding. I was in track. I wasn't any good in it.
yeah.
But
That's
I
all right.
really enjoyed dance a lot. And I was on like back in the day when they would have like a rifle squad and the flag in the marching band, I did things like that. But, I mostly was just focused on my work, honestly. And even through college, I was like, I couldn't wait to graduate college, to start making money and be an adult, and then I tell everybody now, like, take your time. Those are the
Hmm.
best years of your life. So
Yeah. Where'd you go to
yeah.
college?
So I went to UW Eau Claire.
Mm.
It was close enough to home, and not that scary.
Yeah.
So that's where, yeah, my mom actually thought I was in, again, dating, thought I should go to secretarial school at WITC in New Richmond and live at home because honestly, like this is another good lesson. My mom really never thought I was that smart. I was always like B honor roll. My sister was the A honor roll. Why can't you be smarter like your sister? Things like that. And she didn't honestly think I would make it
Mm.
in college or my
Mm.
business, which is another thing. So, but I was like, I will show her.
Yeah, right. No, well, I think I dropped out of college and I didn't even finish college. And I think we
Look
both
at
turned out
you
we both turned out okay, right? And I think there's a lot to be said about common sense, right? And the school of hard knocks.
all day
And
long.
you can't give grades on that at all. And so B honor roll is nothing to be nothing to be ashamed of at all. And but that resiliency again that you showed of
Yeah.
sticking through things and getting through it, and then also just having common sense goes a long way.
Yeah, we were talking about that actually at our team meeting, this morning about like, you don't need to be the smartest person. You just need to have grit and got to be willing to persevere and pivot for change. Like,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
And I think, one thing I know in the short time that I've known you is you share the same quality that I pride myself in, is curiosity, right? Like just ask. And I think as a recruiter,
absolutely.
you have to have curiosity just to figure out things to make sure that it's a right fit. But I think
Hmm.
curiosity is going to get you a long way, because then you're constantly a lifelong learner.
Absolutely. That knowledge is
Yeah.
like, it's irreplaceable. Love it.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite job that you had while you were in college? So, you're sticking it out, trying to do the day-to-day thing, and then you got to make some money at night, and or even during the day. What was your favorite college gig?
Ooh, so I was a lifeguard at the Hillcrest Country Club in Altoona at the pool. And that was a great job. But what happened one day is one day the bartender didn't show up at the tiki bar. And they said, "Hey, Stacey, can you do this?" And I literally had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, "Hey, sure, yeah, why not?" And so these guys are like, I'll have an old fashioned or a Manhattan. And I was like, "Okay, tell me how to make it."
Yeah. Right.
Um, and then that like spearheaded me into working for another person who I met there in the real estate business. And that was just such a fun job. So it was, all these guys, and gals at the end of their golf games, happy and just chatting with them about their lives. That was probably my favorite job.
Yeah, that's and I think too, you meet, think of the people that you meet, right? And you're just getting
Amazing.
a brush of how much relationships matter when it comes to business. And so you're just starting to get a feel for that. What was your first, I'm going to use air quotes here, real job? So your job out of college, career job.
Yeah, if you can believe this, it was at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Mm.
They were recruiting at Eau Claire, and I interviewed with them, and it seemed like a fun job. So that was probably like, and that's how I got here because I was like, I don't care what job is, I want to get to the Twin Cities because I know that like small town Wisconsin is land of no opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's a great place for sure. But I knew if I really wanted to make it on my own, I had to move here. So that got me here. Absolutely nuts job. It was a time back in the day where people could do cash deals. So you'd be doing everything from, cleaning out Cheetos out of the back seat of a car to like finding out who stole your car in bad neighborhoods, getting a key cut and like trying to find this car, drive it back to the dealer.
Yeah, that's
But so,
crazy.
I mean, it was absolutely crazy, but super fun job. I have a lot of friends there from this day. We talk about all the things we can't even believe that we did when we were there. Great training program. And honestly, was a great start, but
So
absolutely crazy job.
So that's one thing that I have heard about enterprise, is that their training and their onboarding, and like it builds so much knowledge into you at a young age. If and I mean, people have made great careers out of that organization. But we have a couple of members that I know don't work for enterprise anymore, but that was their first job out of
Right.
college, and they rave about the things
Yeah.
that they learned in such a short period of time.
It, yeah. The training was absolutely, I mean, phenomenal. And I'll just say too, in like a year and a half, I was, running my own branch. And so at the end of the day, when it's like you get paid off what you make. So somebody steals a car worth, a Monte Carlo worth $28,000 and your net income is 115, you're not paying your rent. So lots of lessons learned, how to drive business with the service people, the different dealerships and just all dealing with all kinds of people from somebody who's renting a car for a day to somebody who, is going to take it hunting.
Right. That's
And
There you
it,
go. Yeah,
he's going to come
that's
back and you're going to need to put a lot of Febreze in there.
yeah, right, right.
Too, I mean, just all kinds of people. And I just think it was a phenomenal training on how to deal with all kinds of people in all kinds of different situations. And then basically like run your own business. It was just, yeah, it was
Yeah.
phenomenal training.
Yeah. How long did you spend there?
I think it was almost 2 years and I was a veteran. It's a tough place to work for sure. But like I said, made a lot of friends, great training. And luckily got recruited out of there by somebody I rented a car to. So I got recruited to GE out of there. So it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. Always do your best. And yeah, you never know where your next opportunity comes from.
When did you get your first, you would dip your toes in the water of recruiting and understanding talent and all that stuff?
Yeah, definitely a few years later, I'd had a couple of sales jobs and I knew that I loved the relationship. I loved learning about people. I loved problem solving, but I was always selling things that I wasn't really passionate about. And so, at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I know, that I love, a lot about sales, but I wasn't really passionate about the product, or I'd feel bad. Like it was like, oh, I charged them for that. And that just doesn't feel good in my soul. So my cousin had a recruiting company and she was like, I think you'd be really awesome in this. And she's like, come work for me. And I was like, I love you. So no. But then she's like, okay, just go talk to this other guy then. If you don't want to work for me, go check this out over here. So I did. I went, and it was Furion Professional Recruiting at the time. And I was, talked to, 8 people there in my interview process. And I was like, wow, this is something I can totally get around because it is, helping people and you can make money. So, that was something that I could really, really get around. So I took a 50% pay cut to try it out
Hmm.
and I loved it.
Yeah. Did you, and was it one of those gigs where so you said you took a 50% pay cut? Was that like, was it, I think I kind of know how the recruiting world works, or did work back in the day, where you get like a base salary and then you get paid on what you basically eat what you kill type of a thing.
Yeah, we actually had a draw. So you got
Oh.
it, but you had to pay
Mm-hmm.
it back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never worked on anything like that in my life. Super scary, but again, I was just like, no kids, not married, take the leap, why not? Right? Because I knew that I really wanted to find my passion.
Yeah. How long did you spend there?
So at Spirion, I spent, I think, a little over a year and a half. So I started out as an accounting and finance recruiter. And I knew that I loved recruiting, but no offense to any accounting and finance people out there. You all are very smart, but it wasn't for me. I was like, these aren't my people, because it's like when I would say, like, tell me about what you do for a living, they're like, payroll. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. So I started just helping out people around the office too, because we weren't that busy. And so there was all these other different disciplines. There was legal, and there was, like I said, finance, there was supply chain. And so I actually started placing some sales positions for Capella, Thomson Reuters, things like that. And they're like, hey, you're pretty good at this. Do you want your own desk? And I was like, yes. So I started kind of building my own business there, got recruited by another firm in the same space. And they had been under $1 million, took them to 5 million in 3.5 years, and then decided to start my own.
What is it like to be recruited by a recruiter?
I did not know. So I actually was going to help them find a salesperson. And they're like, how about you? And I was like, no, I just started my own thing. I really love this. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Yeah, that's
So
just kind of how it, money talks, I suppose, probably at that point in your life, in your career, and where you wanted to go. It was, yeah, they probably had to pony up a little
yeah,
bit,
and
right?
there was loads of opportunity there. So it was super exciting for me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So before we dig into starting your own business, I want to take a quick break, share a couple of our community supporters with our listeners, and we'll be right back.
When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at BoulayGroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. Listen, people, everyone needs a bank. Not just any bank, a good community bank. From personal needs like checking and savings accounts to business services like financing and M&A support, the team at Flagship Bank is there to provide you with the assistance you need so you can spend less time thinking about your finances and more time enjoying what your money can do for you. To learn more, head over to flagshipbanks.com. That's flagshipbanks with an S.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Flagship Bank, investing in you. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to help guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism.
If you're an entrepreneur or married to one, you likely have a shared vision on your future, but there's uncertainty on how to get there. That's where the team at eWealth Partners comes in. They see you as a dynamic duo, and as fiduciaries, they're committed to helping dynamic duos like you design a financial plan that aligns and empowers you. Navigating the entrepreneurial journey shouldn't add stress to your relationship. It should be fun and exciting. Visit ewealthpartners.com to learn how they help couples like you plan for their financial future today. eWealth Partners, holistic financial planning for entrepreneurial couples. Investment advisor services offered through AdvisorNet Wealth Management. eWealth Partners and AdvisorNet Wealth Management are not affiliated. All right. Thanks a lot to our community supporters and the messages that they shared. Let's talk a little bit more about now. So did you start True Talent Group? Was it called True Talent Group when you started?
It was, yeah.
So talk to me about so I don't want to get into like all of the why behind it, but was there some kind of like little bit of inspiration on, I see, for anybody that's watching this, I can see your logo in the background there, but what was some of the inspiration around why you chose that name?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I was finding, in recruiting is that it can be very transactional, right? And what I really love is the stories. And sometimes you can find somebody who's a great skills fit, but it's not a culture fit. And I think, culture one day is a long time to work with people that you just do not share the same values with or get along with or love, the mission or the product or service, things like that. So I really wanted to find a true fit. And that's really where True Talent Group came from. So, again, it doesn't feel good for me to like throw spaghetti up against the wall and see who sticks. It's really like, what are you really interested in your career? What 3 things will make it a hell yes for you? And so that's really where True Talent Group came from is like, it's a true fit. We're making sure that, you're getting candidates that we can't imagine why you wouldn't want these guys on your team.
Right.
Instead of
do you then, so you were at your previous gig, you're kicking around, starting your own thing. Do you remember that defining moment of when it was like, I need to start my own company?
This might sound silly, but obviously there was a lot leading up to this, but I brought in a ton of really good accounts. I was the only salesperson there. And out of the blue, we get a employee handbook that says no open-toed shoes. And I was like, if I could see if I was full suit every day and I could see if my feet were gnarly or unpedicured or something like that. But that was the straw that broke the sling back for me. I've been kicking around it anyways, they're saying, and like, okay, if I did my own, I would do it this way, or I would do that, or things like that. But
right.
That
what year was that? What year was that?
That was 2008.
So think about that, right? Like 2008, that statement is being made, and imagine if that shit got dropped today or even 2 years ago. Like, I mean, we've come a long way, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. But boy, that is some messed up stuff. That's crazy.
And very strict dress code there. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was at an organization too earlier on in my career, and that was one of the policies that they had. And and that always blew my mind that that was a thing. And I can totally understand why that would be a catalyst for you to be like, F this, I'm out of here, I'm doing my own thing. And plus I think, let's go back to like 2008. Was it a pretty male dominated industry, or was it a good blend of rock stars that were both men and women?
I feel lucky. And I mean, I hear these stories every day, and I mean, it's not that it hasn't happened to me, but in marketing and creative,
Mhm.
I would say there was a fair split between, men and women. So I feel really lucky that I never really felt like that, or I didn't feel like I could make it on my own.
Yeah, yeah,
I
good.
didn't feel disadvantaged being a woman.
Yeah, good. So when you started your business, were you able to bring over some of your clients, and or did you have like a non-compete or anything like that that you had to work through? What was that whole process like?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to. And then I had a non-compete and they held me strong on it.
Mhm.
So then I was like, pivot, right? So I was like, we're 2008. What do people need during this time? If I can't do marketing, creative, digital, that I knew, what do people need? And I was like, okay, well, in this time, people need salespeople.
Yeah.
And so I had done salespeople before when I was at Spherion. I had done Paychecks and Thomson Reuters and Capella and things like that. So I was like, okay. And I'm like, where am I going to find people who will use little old Stacey Stratton in her basement? And again, dating myself, but I went to like the ads, and I was like, people who were they had enough money to place an ad, but they weren't using a recruiter. So I knew that they needed people enough that they were placing that ad. So then I started placing, people in the office supply side of things, printing, things like that. So and again, part of, the being the truthful part is a lot of people were hurting in those times. And, somebody needed somebody to bring over $1 million book. I was like, hey, here's the deal. They might bring over half of what they have, but it's not going to be right away. And by the way, like, I can't guarantee that they're going to bring in 1 million, but they're a damn good salesperson. So
Mhm,
just
mhm.
again, really being truthful about, and about what it was like to work at that company. But I remember one guy was like, how do I know you're not some recruiter in your basement, calling me up? And I'm like, I am in my basement, by the way, with no sheetrock and no carpet. And I'm telling you that I will work harder than anybody you've ever met, because I don't have 20 recs going on right now. Like, you're my only. So
Yeah,
and I got the job.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Well, a little bit of transparency goes a long way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, though, after my non-compete was up, I was lucky enough to bring in some of my clients. My first client was Medtronic. So
Mm.
that was really cool. Bringing those guys, in, learned a lot there. And yeah, it's been a great journey.
Did you find that so in the early entrepreneurial journey for you, were there some bumps and bruises that you had to go through? That, like, is there one that maybe sticks out? Like there was a hard lesson learned early on that you maybe weren't expecting, or a curveball or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. Lots of things. It's like, there's a lot of ups and downs. This has not been, a straight rainbow shot or anything like that. Um, but luckily enough, and again, your groups are so amazing because I had nobody to hold me accountable. So, my husband at the time didn't really care. He thought this was like a little fun project for me. And as long as I could pay the mortgage, like whatever.
Hmm.
And so I was like, who am I going to report to? Who's going to keep me, on my toes and working when I could be like, I'm in my basement. I could run upstairs and have ice cream and throw something in the, crock pot, whatever. Um, and so what's so important, I think, is really surrounding yourself with those cheerleaders who are going to support you. And so I put together an informal board of my banker, my
Hmm.
insurance person, my lawyer, the guy who was helping me with marketing. And every 6 months, we would get together. I'd buy him dinner. I'd give him $100 stipend, and I'd have to report in on what's going on. So I think had I not had that informal board, I don't know that we would have made it, because,
Hmm.
as an entrepreneur, you're sitting there, and again, it's like, who who has the answers. I'd never started a business before. Again, this was just like a whim. I was like, well, I want to try it. And if it doesn't work, like I'll just go get another job. But I didn't want to look back on my life and say, what if? So, but it's those people that I surrounded myself with. Also, there was a consultant that I have, she was kind of going through my stuff on Medtronic, and I was competing on price. She's like, you're not doing anybody a service. You're doing yourself a disservice because you're going to put yourself at a business with this 5% margin.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. So just the power of surrounding yourself with people who are knowledgeable, who support you, who want to help you. And that's really become my life's mission, is to help inspire and empower other people with the knowledge that I have gained, for better or worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's so much power in that group that you talked about with, like, whether it be a banker or attorney. I mean, they're invested in you. They want to see you succeed, not only financially, because that allows them to pay their bills and do their business, but then also too, just I mean, you bring that mindset of people together, especially coming from roots like you did and I did, without, I had zero exposure to business. You didn't have any exposure to business.
Same.
If you're not surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you in those worlds, then you're going to have to figure it out the hard way. And that could mean failure.
Yeah. I mean, I seriously credit the success of that business for, to those guys, and, still to this day. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, we talked a little bit earlier about your dad leaving and then eventually passing away. I feel like there's been inflection points throughout your journey that have dealt with some type of loss or some type of grief. So I understand your mom passed away, and you were really tight with her.
yeah.
When did that happen?
Are you trying to make me cry, Aaron?
No, no, I didn't. But you
Oh.
said I could. You said I could open.
You
I could
can.
open up Pandora's box. So
Yeah,
it's a big part of your journey, Stacey.
It is, my mom, just was an angel I mean, she just taught me so much, and I feel, everything I owe to her. She was just amazing, but yeah, she just had retired at the Deer Park, bank the Bremer Bank, as a head teller, making $10.23 an hour. And she just retired, and then she got diagnosed with bladder cancer, which is a rare cancer. You don't hear about it very often. Starting to hear about it a little bit more, but from the time that she was diagnosed to the time that she died was just 8 months. So
Wow.
it was a really rough, it was, I mean, that was the thing. I was like, I don't really care about the business. We did enough what we could, but I mean, 17 trips to Mayo. I'd set up shop with my computer while she's in there all day. But I mean, life's short, right? And she was my best friend for sure. And honestly, I did not know that I would be able to go on without her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was a really rough, but God gives you the strength.
Yeah. And I think that I don't want to dig into this, but I'll just mention it, is that, you were divorced then at relatively recently, like not too long ago, but right. And so you look at all these, like, that's what I'm talking about, is like these inflection points. And,
Yeah.
My opening said life is short. Well, I think really, that perspective. And another thing we talk about on this podcast is paradigm shifting events. Well, you went through a pretty early on one that I think was probably helped drive you in the direction of being somewhat of an entrepreneur, but then also it's more solidified through these multiple different life experiences. And anytime I talk to anybody that goes through different types of life experiences, especially as severe as these, it just creates that perspective, and you can do with it what you want, but it usually equals in an entrepreneur drive.
Yeah. And, I would say something that I always, and you'll see these quotes somewhere, but one of my favorite ones is, fear, which, can mean, fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. And we've all been through a lot of things. I think, on social media, a lot of our life looks, perfect. And, I know mine certainly isn't. And I mean, I would say go ahead and have that pity party, but don't stay there. You know, I'm giving you permission to go ahead, cry, go do that, but don't stay there. Because, you know, I hope that I'm living proof that there are, you know, there are better days there, like this, you know, the rain doesn't last.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep going. You just have to persevere, and it's going to be okay. Like, I promise it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then take a few trips to wine country every once in a while with some friends.
You got to plan fun too. You got to plan
Oh
fun.
yeah.
If you don't plan fun, going back to, you know, there's a lot of people who say, you know, someday, and, you know, I run a little bit between, I might die tomorrow, and I probably should say, you know, so I mean, hopefully I will, you know, be able to be there for my daughter into my, you know, 80s and so like that. But again, I see a lot of people saying someday I'll take that trip. Someday I'll do that. And I'll even just say, I'm, you know, on my deathbed with my mom. My mom had never put her feet in the sand, never seen the ocean. And I'd planned a recovery trip for her. And we went. And 3 weeks after that trip, she passed. And when we found out her cancer had spread everywhere, she said, "Stacey, what if we wouldn't have got on that trip?"
Right.
So, you know,
Everyone, yeah, that's that's an awesome story, because of that's the kind of perspective you should live with every single day, right? Like, you know, treat it like it's your last one. And I think everyone says that, but I mean, you lived through it and saw your mom be able to take that trip and put her feet in the sand, and then probably had a little bit of comfort in moving on, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's lighten this thing up a little bit. One
Thank
thing that
you.
I think I did, sorry, but you know, I got to do my thing here. Okay, one thing that I think I did an average to below average job of so far is letting you talk about what you do and who you serve. Okay, so you work very specifically in like marketing, creative, talent. Why did you decide to go directly down that route? I know you talked about like you didn't want to do financial, but you really are a true, like what I will call like a boutique agency focused
Yep.
on that marketing side of things. And I can feel that through your marketing and through your brand. What is it about that you love so much?
Yeah, I just love marketing and design and how to reach, just even if it's colors or words, and how to reach your audience, and building your brand, and driving business through your marketing and digital and creative and video. I mean, I just geek out about how all that works together, and just absolutely have been always enthralled with that. And so when I got into that niche, I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. And still to this day, I love looking at people's portfolios. I'm like, ooh, that was a really good slogan, or, well, look what they were able to do with that. So yeah, once I got into marketing, creative, digital, I was just like, okay, this is my love.
Yeah. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we jump to 9 questions is your daughter. So you have a young daughter, which is, you have a lot of, like, with you having you being one of 3 sisters, and now you having a daughter, like there's a lot of female energy in your family. What's it like having a 13-year-old daughter?
You know, I'm lucky so far. Because everybody's like, what's it like having a teenager? So
Yeah.
you know, again, going back to, you know, a lot of my lessons in life, I bring them to her. And we've had a lot of fun together. We talk about a lot of things. We have a lot of great experiences together. I just took her to the Luke Bryan concert, the farm
Sweet.
tour.
Yeah. Sweet.
So all of a sudden now she thinks we should move to the farm.
You can bring her out to my hobby farm, and she can get a little, she can check out the chickens and stuff like that. And maybe that'll fill that need for a little while.
I would love that.
Right,
Yeah.
let's
So
figure it
right
out.
now she's great. I mean, she is my world. She is my everything. My number one job out of everything I do is being a mom. So, you know, it's my job to support her and make sure that, you know, she's kind and helpful and smart and learning, and can make it on her own as well. But yeah, like right now, I mean, I've heard the horror stories right now, today, October 17th.
Yep, lock it in. She's a
Yeah.
good kid. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm really lucky right now.
Is she a mini me?
She's extremely athletic. So I mean, she definitely got that from her father. She did not get that from me. She thinks she's going to be a Gopher volleyball player. I hope she is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll play this back someday and talk about, that. Um, but she's driven, even that, for her, like, we live in a different time now and in a different place, but I'm like, if you want those, Birkenstocks, like go check around the neighborhood and see who you can work for,
Heck yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, if you
yeah.
want it, you got to go get it.
Yeah, well, you figured it out on your own, and she's gonna have to figure it out on her own too. But it's good to have you guide her. Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna take a quick break to hear from some of our community supporters, and then we're diving into 9 questions. And I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you, and we're gonna address that after we get done with 9 questions, so you can share all your fun contact information because I know people are gonna want to meet you. So let's
Okay,
hear from
let's
a
do
few
it.
of our let's hear from a few of our community supporters, and we're gonna get after it.
If you're anything like me, you know enough to be dangerous when it comes to finance, yet need some help when things are complicated. All-in-One Accounting provides the right financial expertise and leadership to align with your stage of growth. From outsourced accounting and bookkeeping to strategic financial planning, the team of accounting rock stars at All-in-One Accounting are passionate about positively impacting the lives of their clients. Check them out at allinoneaccounting.com. All-in-One Accounting, taking our clients from financial chaos to business clarity and beyond. United Healthcare believes there's no limit to what care can do. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.3 million care professionals and 6,500 hospitals and care facilities, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting you to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. Go to uhc.com for healthcare plans, resources, and more information. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. If you're a business owner wanting to save money on your overall real estate costs, I want you to give Carlson Partners a call. The team will help minimize your risk exposure and help you leverage the market to see maximized benefits to your next lease, purchase, or disposition. They've advocated and negotiated for hundreds of companies and saved millions of dollars in real estate expenses. With over 75 years of experience representing business owners, let them help you save time and money on your next real estate negotiation. Visit carlsonpartnersllc.com to learn more. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
All right, we're back and we're ready for 9 questions. We literally took about 2 or 3 minutes to hear from some of our amazing supporters that make this podcast possible, and Coalition 9, big supporters of our community, and I love having them as a part of this. What I will say is you were wondering what 9 questions was going to be like. Now you're going to experience it firsthand. Do you have any idea what I'm about to ask you?
No, but I'm an open book, so
fire away. All right. We're gonna start with a layup here. We're roughly the same age. We are both products of the 90s. I think I'm safe in saying your first album was probably a CD. What was or maybe it was a tape. I don't know. Maybe it was a tape. What was the first album you ever?
I think I might be older than you because it was an album. It was Michael Jackson.
Like a record?
A record.
Oh, and you bought that with your own money?
I did.
Wow. I think the first album that I ever purchased, I think, was Run DMC, the one with It's Tricky on it, and it was a tape.
Oh yeah.
That was with my own money, yeah. So I think we're pretty close. I'm 45. You don't have to say how old you are, but I'm 45. So we're roughly the same.
Older.
Yeah, all right. We're roughly the same age. We'll just leave it at that.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that. All right. Well, you look younger. All right. Number 2. What is the strangest thing that you have ever eaten?
Ooh. I don't eat, okay, I don't eat strange things, but okay. So one of the things, going back to like people tell me that is strange, I love ketchup and noodles.
The what now?
Yeah, I love ketchup and noodles. And I actually paid my niece $20 to try it and she threw it up. But I mean,
It's
it's a cheap thing that we grew up on as a kid, as kids.
well, yeah,
Ketchup,
that's like the cheapest spaghetti that you could possibly make, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Yeah. All right. Good for you. That is, I will pass on that. I will not even take the $20. I will pass and pass. Right. What is a guilty pleasure that you like to indulge in? Not spaghetti and ketchup.
Naps. I love a nap. Yeah.
Is it a like a 20-minute power nap? Is it a 10-minute? Is it 60 minutes? What's your key number there?
If I'm going to take a nap, I need at least an hour and a half because my mind runs and it's been about a half hour just letting things run out of my mind before it can actually relax.
Yeah, that's a
So
good.
if I don't have a good hour and a half of my day, no nap.
Well, there's a lot of podcasts and books that I've listened to and read that talk about how, as an entrepreneur or as a leader, that you need to make sure and get your rest, and it doesn't always come at night. So they do say naps are good for you. So I'm glad that you do that.
Yeah, I love it. I love a weekend nap. Yep.
Yeah, sweet. What is your go-to for inspiration?
The Bible.
Yeah.
First thing I do every single morning when I get up is read from my Bible app and read my devotional.
Yeah. Good.
And
I know a
it
couple
always
other
speaks
people
to me.
that's they're part of their process. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, it always speaks to me when I'm just, always needing some information. I'm just like, yes, thank you.
Good. Sweet. I love it. I love would you rather questions. So I've started putting would you rather questions into my 9 questions. So I pulled a couple here for you.
Oh, snap.
Yep. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
I would rather be too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so are you the type of person that at some point in your life you're going to want to move south for a portion of your existence, or are you good with just living in the frozen tundra?
4 more years. 4 more years till
right,
Tiff graduates.
Yeah, you got it dialed in. Yeah.
What about you?
I love cold. I hate you can always put more clothes on. I'm outside on the farm with I get made fun of because I don't wear sleeves around the farm. And
You're
so
a heater.
I'm sweaty like literally 95% of the time. I've got some kind of like heat going. So no, I sleep with a sheet in the wintertime, like hard no. Nope. I can't live in the South. Nope.
Oh wow.
No, I'll pass. So
oh my gosh.
We'll just do video calls when you're moving down there then.
Okay.
All right. What are 3 words that describe you?
Ooh, positive. I hope inspirational and a hard worker.
Yep. We'll put a hyphen between hard and worker. So that
Okay.
will count as 1 word. So yeah, good. I see all of those, especially the positivity one. Another would you rather? Would you rather explore space or the ocean?
I love the ocean. Like all is well with my soul when I'm by the water. So I'm going to say the ocean.
All right.
Yeah.
I think there's some scary stuff down in the ocean though. And I don't think there's as many scary things in space within reason, within our.
So does that mean you don't believe in UFOs and aliens?
I don't know. I'm going to say no. I just think I don't know. It just seems far-fetched.
Right.
Right. I don't know.
They say some report just came out, but I don't watch the news. So, if we were getting bombed in 5 minutes, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. I go on Twitter and I select what I want to hear, and they don't talk about UFOs on there. All right. What is one thing people would be surprised to hear about you?
I would say, one thing that would be people like, they're always surprised to know that I love to mow my own lawn. And they're like, do you have a rider? And it's like, no. And so I have a push mower, and I actually just now split it with the neighbor kid because he has a lawn mowing business and I wanted to give him contribute to his business. So we take turns every other week.
I love that. There's some of well, one, it's a good workout. And then two, I think there's a lot to be said for people that do their own yard work and do their own stuff. It's good that you're sharing a little bit of love with the neighbor kid, but also it just says a lot about your character.
Well, what can you do within like an hour, from start to finish and look at it and say, I did that. I got a workout. It looks beautiful.
I also think
It's a sense of accomplishment.
isn't it a little bit of a meditation too, to where you can't really do anything else and you just kind of have to be in your own thoughts? And I don't doubt if you were to really think and look back that you probably had some pretty good ideas or created some kind of positive thing in your head based on that time that was spent.
Absolutely. Because when else do you get time when you're working? My best ideas are at the gym or in the
Mhm.
shower, or like you said, like on a walk or mowing the lawn, those times where, you can't really do and you can't be at a computer and can't be Googling things and figuring things out. So yeah.
Yep. Yep. We're already at number 9. You hammered through these here, so we're gonna go with one that maybe is a little deeper, but I have a feeling that you're gonna knock this one out of the park too. How would you define success?
Oh, I think success is whatever you want it to be. For me, if when I die, people say she was a great mom, she was a great friend, she was a great sister, she was a great partner, she was a great leader. That's how I define success, not, hey, Stacey ran True Talent Group.
Yeah, I think a lot for me, it's always built around legacy, right? So I think, you have a daughter that you're going to be able to share that legacy with, but then also this, your business that you've built and are continuing to build, and then just being able to have your name be spoken after you're gone is a big deal. So I'm with you 100% on that one. Great answer. Um,
Thanks.
More people need to know who you are. More people need to learn more about True Talent Group. Will you share whatever your socials, your email? Some people have shared their phone number. I think that's a little crazy. You do whatever you do. You share how people can get a hold of you and learn more about you.
Yeah, I would say the best way to get a hold of me these days is on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And I'm Stacey with an EY, so Stacey Stratton, True Talent Group. If you can't get a hold of me there, I mean, you should be, but I'm happy to give out my email at Stacey, Stacey at truetalentgroup.com. And yeah, there you go.
All right. So those of you that are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of the bigs that we broadcast on, I'm going to link her information in our show notes. So make sure and go into the show notes, and you'll be able to go right to her LinkedIn profile, right to her website, and then I will put a hot link to her email address and get to know Stacey. She's great. I am so thrilled that you're a part of our community. Like I said at the beginning, I had lunch with one of the members of your group last week, was raving about you. It means so much to me to have good people as part of our community, and getting to know you over the past few months has been fantastic. And I'm just thrilled that you're here with us.
I'm thrilled as well, Aaron. You've done an amazing job putting some absolutely phenomenal people together. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Have fun in wine country. Be good, but not too good.
Or good at it, right?
Good. Yeah, we're good at it. On behalf of Stacey Stratton, this has been the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.